I was 9 months pregnant, and every day was a complicated tangle of emotions. Joy, anxiety, excitement, and fear often battled inside me. This was supposed to be one of the happiest times of my life, yet I often felt more alone than ever. My husband, David, worked a white-collar job, and instead of being a comforting presence, he seemed to drift further away from me as my due date approached. Most weekends, instead of staying home to support me, he would visit his parents, leaving me to sit alone in the quiet house, wondering why he chose them over me, especially now when I needed him the most. Each morning, I woke up early to prepare breakfast for David before he left for work. I'd hear him getting dressed, the clink of his belt, the zip of his jacket, and I would hurry to have everything ready. After he left, my day was filled with endless chores, washing dishes, cleaning floors, doing laundry, running errands. Even with my swollen feet and aching back, I pushed through. Somehow, the house had to stay spotless because anything less would only invite his passive-aggressive remarks. To cope with the stress and the gnawing loneliness, I started blogging. I poured my heart into writing about my daily life, the little joys and the small, beautiful moments I managed to capture with my camera. It became my escape, a small, private world where I could be honest, even if no one was really listening. The strain in my marriage grew heavier with each passing day. David's indifference stung worse than any harsh word. He never touched my growing belly, never spoke to the baby inside me, never once asked how I was feeling. Our conversations, when they happened, often turned into arguments. He would snap at me over small things, a dish left in the sink, a forgotten item at the store, and I would feel myself shrinking a little more each time, questioning if this was truly the man I had vowed to spend my life with. One afternoon, after a particularly rough day, I forgot to buy his favorite brand of cereal. It triggered a horrible fight. David's face twisted in anger as he yelled at me, accusing me of being irresponsible and careless. His words, cruel and cutting, made me feel invisible, less than human. That night, as I sat alone in the bedroom, cradling my swollen belly, I couldn't stop the questions swirling in my mind. Was this what love was supposed to feel like? Was this marriage worth saving? The situation worsened in the most unthinkable way. One weekend, just as we were preparing for yet another visit to his parents' house, I felt the first sharp contractions. I knew it was time. Panicked but excited, I told David we needed to get to the hospital immediately. But instead of rushing to help me, he complained about the car. He didn't want me to mess up the seats, he said, and he told me I should hold it until we could figure something out. I was speechless. Every second was precious, yet he was more concerned about the cleanliness of a car than the life of his wife and child. I knew then that I couldn't rely on him. I grabbed my phone and called an ambulance myself. Tears blurred my vision as I gave them my address. David just stood there, arms crossed, fuming as if I had inconvenienced him. At that moment, I felt utterly abandoned, but thankfully, not everyone turned away. Our neighbor, Sarah, who lived just a few houses down, heard the commotion. She rushed over, assessed the situation in seconds, and without hesitation, helped me into her car and drove me to the hospital. Her kindness, her steady voice, her reassuring touch, it all kept me from completely falling apart during those terrifying minutes. Later, as I lay in the hospital bed, cradling my newborn baby against my chest, I thought about everything that had led me to this moment. I wasn't just mourning the husband I had lost to indifference and cruelty. I was realizing that maybe I had never truly had him to begin with. My parents, who had always been supportive but cautious about David, stood by my side without hesitation. Their presence gave me the strength to start thinking about a different future, one where I wasn't stuck in a toxic marriage, one where I could build a better life for myself and my child. As if the universe wanted to confirm my decision, fate intervened in an unexpected way. Sarah had captured a brief video during the chaos, David yelling, refusing to drive me to the hospital, behaving in ways no one could defend. Somehow, the video ended up online and before long, it went viral. Strangers from all over expressed outrage and disgust at his actions. The backlash was swift and severe, not just for David but for his entire family, who had often looked down on me and treated me like an outsider. I didn't waste any more time. As soon as I was strong enough, I started divorce proceedings. Confronting David was difficult, but necessary. He didn't take it well. He blamed me, minimized his actions, accused me of making him look bad. But by then, his words no longer had the power to wound me. I was firm. I wasn't going to let him rewrite the truth. I deserved better, and so did my child. The divorce was finalized faster than I had expected. David's once polished reputation crumbled, and he ended up losing his job, another consequence of his cruelty becoming public knowledge. I didn't celebrate his downfall, but I couldn't deny feeling a sense of closure. Actions have consequences, and he had finally been forced to face his. With the legal battles behind me, I moved forward. My parents became my rock, helping me adjust to life as a single mother. Sarah, who had already become an unexpected angel in my life, grew closer to me. Her friendship blossomed into something even deeper, something I hadn't dared hope for, the possibility of love again, built on mutual respect and kindness. Looking back, my journey wasn't easy. There were nights filled with tears, days when the fear almost crushed me. But standing in the sunlight now, holding my baby close, surrounded by people who genuinely cared for me, I knew I had survived the storm. I had found strength I didn't know I had, and even in the wreckage, I had discovered the chance for a new, beautiful beginning. In the first few weeks after the divorce, life felt like I was learning how to walk again, unsteady, uncertain, but also strangely exhilarating. For the first time in years, I had the freedom to breathe without fear of being criticized or belittled. Every little milestone felt like a quiet victory. Making breakfast just for myself and my baby, choosing what I wanted to watch on TV without someone scoffing beside me, falling asleep in peace, knowing that no angry words would be hurled across the room. Raising a newborn wasn't easy, but it was different now. It was hard work filled with love, not loneliness. When my baby cried late into the night, I was tired, but I never resented it. I whispered promises into her tiny ears, that I would always be there, that I would always put her first, that she would grow up knowing she was loved beyond measure. Sarah was a constant presence through it all. She visited often, helping with diapers, groceries, or just sitting with me while I cried through my confusion and healing. We spent long afternoons talking about books, dreams, fears, the pain of betrayal, and the slow, patient hope of starting over. I learned that she, too, had come from heartache and loss, which made her kindness even more profound. She didn't rush me or expect anything from me. She just stayed, quietly and steadfastly, becoming the family I never knew I needed. The bond between us grew naturally, like a seed finding fertile ground. It wasn't dramatic or rushed. It was the slow unfolding of something real. Some evenings, after the baby had fallen asleep, we would sit outside under the stars, sipping tea, laughing at memories, sometimes sitting in comfortable silence. In those moments, I felt safe. I felt seen. There was a night, not long after my daughter turned 3 months old, when everything shifted. I had just put the baby down to sleep, and Sarah was in the kitchen, cleaning up dishes she refused to let me touch. I watched her from the doorway, the soft light of the kitchen lamp casting a gentle glow on her face, the familiar way she moved around my home like she belonged there. And in my heart, something clicked into place. For the first time since my world had fallen apart, I realized I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living. I was feeling hope again. And maybe, just maybe, I was falling in love. I walked over to her that night, hands trembling a little, and simply said, "Thank you for everything." Sarah turned to me, her eyes full of something deep and unspoken, and in that moment, words weren't needed. She pulled me into a hug, not a polite one, but the kind that wraps around your broken pieces and holds them together. I closed my eyes and leaned into her warmth, realizing that love doesn't always come the way you expect it. Sometimes it finds you when you're rebuilding yourself, piece by fragile piece. As the seasons changed, so did my life. I went back to school part-time, studying online so I could stay with my daughter. I started writing seriously, inspired by my blog, and to my surprise, my words began to reach other people. Women from all over wrote to me, sharing their own stories of pain, survival, and hope. I realized that my voice mattered, that my story, even the painful parts, could help someone else feel less alone. David, in the background, tried a few times to regain control. He sent angry texts, blaming me for his misfortunes. But I didn't respond. I had nothing left to say to the man who had abandoned me in my hour of greatest need. My focus was on my daughter, on our future, on the life we were building, a life filled with laughter, light, and love. In time, Sarah officially moved in. It was the most natural thing in the world. She became a second parent to my daughter, who adored her, and a true partner to me, someone who showed up every single day with patience, humor, and love. One afternoon, sitting in the park watching our little girl toddle through the grass, Sarah took my hand in hers and said, "No matter what comes, you'll never be alone again." Tears welled up in my eyes, but this time, they were tears of joy. I believed her. For the first time in a long time, I believed in something beautiful and lasting. Life hadn't turned out the way I thought it would. It had turned out better. Looking back now, I don't regret the pain I went through. It led me to strength I didn't know I had. It led me to the daughter who lights up my life. It led me to the love that patiently, gently, waited for me to heal. I had thought the end of my marriage was the end of my story, but it was only the beginning of something far more extraordinary. A life rooted in truth, in kindness, in love. And this time, I was living it on my own terms, free, fearless, and full of hope.